Hello and welcome everybody to this Tableau Next demo by Biztory, June 2025. What is Tableau Next? Tableau Next is Agentic Analytics that delivers actionable insights everywhere the work happens. That's very important. Next to the visual side, the dashboards and the metrics, we will see that the agentic aspect, the GenAI, is everywhere in the Tableau Next product. Secondly, actionable. Looking at dashboards and metrics isn't enough these days. We need to be able to take actions where we work. I suggest that we dive in, but before we go, take into account we might dive into a few upcoming features which are not GA as we speak. I will try to mention them when we are there. Before we start, Tableau Next is built on the Salesforce ecosystem. Making use of Data Cloud, you can connect to your data everywhere. And as you can see, Tableau sits on top of all the Salesforce apps in your CRM. And of course, combinable with the new Agentforce products, allowing you and your customers to interact in a very easy way, acquiring knowledge and queries about your data of your company. Let's just dive right in. I am here in my Salesforce CRM and we immediately see a Tableau Next dashboard. And just like you would expect, I can interact with my Tableau Next dashboard, which is embedded in my CRM. Or by making use of filters, I can very easily navigate to the insights I am looking for. Now, not only dashboards make part of Tableau Next, also the fact that I can follow the metrics which are important for me, my team, or my company allows me to really stay up to date about what's going on in my department or my company. For example, embedding is a very big part of Tableau Next as well. Here you see the metrics I follow within my own company. These are the most important metrics I have defined for myself or which I have determined for my team members to follow, because I can also decide who can follow which metrics. Now, for example, I am here monitoring the number of opportunities we are having for this year, but I want to adjust the time range of one specific metric. I can just easily click on the drop down of the metric, click, explore, and filter, and I have the flexibility of adjusting quite a few things about my predefined metrics. Instead of looking at current year to date, for example, I can say previous year to date, or just give me the trend across all time. So no complexity in setting up all the date ranges. This is all part of the Tableau metrics out of the box. On top of that, I can also pre-select which filters my users can use. For example, if I want to check this metric for a specific enterprise, I can select enterprise, hit apply. Now, of course, Tableau Next is also where I work. So, okay, I can go to my homepage when I want to interact with my most important dashboards. I can go to my metrics to get an insight about what is happening in my company. I can set targets, I can set alerts, but what is also very important is the modular aspect of Tableau Next. For example, if I want to have a specific metric for my accounts, I can very easily, and I'm going to close this for a moment, embed those insights on my different tabs in my CRM. For example, here you see closed opportunities, which I am monitoring. It is also possible to really let it filter down through to the context where the KPI sits, and that's really the power. No complex embedding, no code, just indicating I want this metric to be filtered for a specific account, for a specific contract. Salesforce has done a tremendous job in making this really very easy. For example, I can go to the top right of my screen, hit edit page, and on the left side, I will have components at my availability to, for example, add a new metric. So here I can say I want to add a Sales Cloud metric to my account page. I want to monitor the total sales, and I can put it there as a base number, or I can also show which filters that are being applied. I can add a period over period change. I can even add an AI interpretation of what is being asked. And last but not least, I can actually show the chart. So if I now would just click save, from now on, always available on each of my account pages. Isn't it lovely? Isn't that easy? There you have it. Additionally, if I want to add a metric on my metrics homepage, I can do that very easily. I here on the left have my browse metrics. If I want to, for example, add this metrics which I'm following, I can click on the metric. I can set the date range I want to follow this metric for example, previous year to date, click done. And the only thing I now need to do is update my preferences. If I now go back to my following metrics, I will see that the metric will be added to my view and the way I want to follow that metric. The good thing about this is always the same numbers everywhere across your organization. We didn't talk about the agentic part too much yet, but for example, and this is really lovely, if I dive into one of my metrics, Salesforce knows what I'm looking at. That means that I can start asking questions about the visual I am looking at. Out of the box, of course, I have my Agentforce available, which can ask me general questions about my CRM, but with Tableau Concierge, I can ask Agentforce for Analytics to interpret the metric I am looking at. Out of the box, it will give me suggestions for my analysis. For example, give me my top insights. I don't need to specify sales. It knows I'm looking at sales. So in what follows now, it will probably give me the biggest drivers of my sales. There you go. The add-on business opportunity type contributed most to total sales, totaling 33.8 million. Of course, but this is what we see here, but it was just to show you that it exactly matches the data I am looking at. Additionally, I can also see the AI reasoning which the agent took in order to address this question. To address your request, the top insights, we focused on a total sales metric, which is central to the page context. We examined all available data, etc., etc. Just again to confirm that questions were being asked on the right side are taking into account the context of where I am. And this applies to all the things you make in Tableau Next. Be it a dashboard, be it a metric, it will always know where you are and what you are looking at. The thing is, it can also generate visuals for you. You're not dependent on reading text. So here we nicely see he is generating the visual. There you go. He gives me a breakdown of the information he has queried. Here you nicely see that he has understood the assignment correctly. He is plotting per primary industry my sales per quarter. For our next query, I need to talk about the semantic layer. The semantic layer in Tableau Next, which we will dive in very quickly, actually allows the users and your business to add your business logic to your data. This helps the accuracy and the answers it gets back. For example, I am a user, a manager, and I'm really curious, where does this data actually come from? So here you nicely see that it has queried the semantic layer for total sales, which is the sum of the quantity multiplied by the list price, an insight in the calculation. And last but certainly not least, I get a direct link to the semantic model of my Sales Cloud source. Here we are in semantic layer. Here we nicely see that we have established the relationships between all the objects in my Salesforce CRM. It can be DMOs and DLOs, and we leverage that information from Data Cloud. Data Cloud is really the central governing source of my information, which I use in Tableau Next. For those who have worked with Tableau Core or Tableau Classic in the past, I, of course, here have access to all the functions I could possibly think of for making these additional calculated fields I can use in my metrics and my dashboards. The semantic layer is actually the last mile before you start working on your data in Tableau Next. Salesforce has done a tremendous job in bringing a lot of data connectivity to the system. I am here in my data cloud, where I can set up data streams. Data streams are my connectors. Connectors I can use to bring in internal and external data. For example, let's click New, and here we immediately see what I was talking about. Bringing in internal as objects from Salesforce, easy. It's all at my fingertips. Additionally, and I'm not going to name them, Salesforce has done a tremendous job of bringing dozens and dozens and dozens of information to your Salesforce cloud. We're living in the age of agentic AI. And what I need to focus on a lot is the fact that it can bring in both structured data and unstructured data. PDFs, Word files, even audio and video can be retrieved using Data Cloud to be used at the very end for your analytics game or for your agentic setup. Also, in Data Cloud, we used to have Einstein Model Builder. It's now fully built into Data Cloud. So here we are in Einstein Studio. At first sight, not a lot is happening here, but oh my god, the possibilities are endless. I can build and train predictive models. I can even add foundation models. For example, I can connect to Azure, I can connect to an OpenAI, I can connect to Google models. So bring your own model is possible as well. On top of that, I can also make and use generative models. All the famous GPT models are available, GPT 4.1, GPT Mini, even Anthropic, all the OpenAIs, and recently also Google Gemini, which can be leveraged in custom agents which you can build, and there is really the sky the limit. Circling back to our Sales Cloud dashboard, first what we did was connect to our internal data, bring that data in as a so-called data lake object. It's an elementary building block of my model, and then knit it together as a DMO, and then I can use it afterwards in my semantic model in Tableau Next. Now, that semantic model sits right in my data cloud. So I showed you the Sales Cloud semantic model. If I click here on Sales Cloud, I immediately arrive back into my semantic model. As a next step, let's dive into the Tableau Next environment itself, where you and your colleagues can build dashboards and visuals. Just like in any other tool, there are a few of asset types you need to get familiar with. I have my dashboards, I have visualizations, but we also have workspaces. And workspaces are very important from a security and governance perspective. On the level of the workspace, you can set who can see what and which actions they can take with your data. For example, I want to create a workspace for my marketing team. I can set up a brand new workspace and start working from there, making sure that only the marketing team can access visuals and dashboards which are being generated in that environment. I can connect to new data, and I can connect to already existing assets. Already existing assets mean sources which I have prepared with Data Cloud. Now, how do I build a semantic model in Tableau Next? Very easy. I can click Add Existing Asset. Imagine I want to make use of my account, so I'm going to select Account and hit Select. I want to add my users object as well, because I want to add the name of my users to the account owners, for example. I can again click Existing Asset, select User, and I bring the user object into my semantic model. Now next, I'm going to literally model it. So here I am in my semantic model, and I'm going to make a relationship. How can I do that? On the left side, I can grab my demos or DLOs. In this case, I will grab my account object and add it to my semantic model. I will also add my users object because I'm going to need it for the label of my account owners. And then simply by dragging it to the account object, I can establish a relationship. So if I here find the owner, the first one is the user, so I'm going to grab the user ID on the left side and then the owner on the right side. I'm going to click add, click apply, and there you have it. I have established a relationship, and now I can use this data to start making visuals or dashboards. Of course, I can test my data, I can check whether everything went right. I don't have any measures in here right now, but I can quickly check that the things that I have modeled are actually being knit together correctly. Here I work with relationships, but of course, if you prefer actual physical joins, just going to quickly call this example. I can click example, and again, I can do the same thing, grab my account object. So now I can join literal objects into it. For example, the user object, as in my previous example. And again, I can choose which kind of join, establish the relationships, etc., etc. It really depends on how you want to interact with your data and what suits your use case best. Now, before we leave the semantic layer, I want to point out what this little icon here is. This is Tableau Data Pro. This agent will help you with finding the right relationships between your objects, help you with calculating fields, or just helping you with your analysis in general. So for example, what can you do for me just to get an idea of what he is capable of? So this really will help you with, if you're not that technical, making the fields and metrics you have in mind. Let's take a minute to talk about the actual dashboarding in Tableau Next. So depending on my license, I can edit or create new dashboards. For example, I'm Tim, I'm in my own workspace, and I want to create a visual based on my data. So I'm going to click on new dashboard. I'm going to select create blank dashboard, and here I am. I'm going to give this the name Superstore dashboard, and I can start doing my dashboarding. For those who ever have worked with CRM Analytics, this is the best of CRM Analytics combined with the world of Tableau. Imagine that I want to make a bar chart, create next visualization. I need to indicate which data model I need to use. I'm going to say I'm going to use my Superstore data model. Here I get a preview of the fields which are in that data source. And here we are in our trusted Tableau environment. What makes this so awesome is the fact that it's drag and drop and not so much click and configure. For example, I want to see my sales per subcategory of my products. I can grab the subcategory and put it on my rows, and I want to add my sales and drag it on my columns. I can sort it very easily, clicking sort top down. I can also ask it to fit the entire view, and if I want to split the color by region, I can grab region and put it on color. There you go. There are a lot more here, too much for this little demo, but the idea is that I can give it the name bar chart sales per subcategory. I will click save, and I can go back to my dashboard, and boom, now it nicely sits on my dashboard. Let's add a little text to it. My Superstore dashboard, increase the font a little bit. I'm exaggerating, it is not a very beautiful dashboard, but I'm showing you the general flow of work. Now imagine that we have a number which we should reuse across multiple dashboards, single source of truth. What I then could do is click again on my data visualization. I want to add it, click add visualization, but this time I'm going to make use of something that already exists. For example, sales per region. I click select and I don't need to build it from scratch this time. Let me just scale it out a little bit. There you go. And I'm going to put it here on my dashboard. So how do I add a filter? I can click on list and I want to put it here on my dashboard. I can select on which data source I should grab the column from. I'm gonna use a category, hit select, and I can already preview my dashboard. Immediately out of the box with the interactive functionality of filtering through. So if I click here, my East region, it will nicely filter through. And of course, my classic filter allows me to filter down. Now, those who have worked with visualization tools in the past, this will feel very familiar. Another thing I want to point out, and this is really a big discriminator for Tableau Next, is the fact that you can combine actionability with visual analytics. For example, by clicking button, I can add an action to my dashboard. What does this mean? Of course, you could make a navigation button, go to, etc. But that's not where I'm at here. What I really want to focus here are the actions. If your company has invested or is running a lot of Salesforce flows, all these actions can be run from within Tableau Next. Let me give an example. Imagine that my requirement for my dashboard is I want to be able to create a case from within my dashboard. I can select my button, go to actions, and here, and this is really very strong, I have access to all the Salesforce flows. Of course, I have access to, but for example, I said create case. We do have a create case flow running. I can hit save and I can click preview, and this little hyperlink will trigger a Salesforce flow. You're about to start create a case. Do you want to proceed? Next. And now it will guide me, ask my name, etc. And it will log finally a case. Let's quickly do that. Tim Dries. I'm going to give you my email address. I'm going to give you a fake phone number. Click next. Here I can set my case type. I'm going to hit test. Click next. I need help with the sales dashboard. There you go. My case is created. Now I demoed it with create case, but it shows that the possibilities are really endless. If you can think it, you can make it. So really any action can be taken from the dashboard. Tableau Next isn't only for Salesforce users. Imagine that you are collaborating with users who work somewhere else. In Slack or in Teams, it's possible to share all these dashboards and share the URLs in the interface where they are working. Let me give you an example. I can grab the URL of one of my metrics and navigate to my my Slack environment, where I can see that by simply pasting the URL, there you go, it has unpacked my URL. I've sent it in a test channel here, not to bother my colleagues, but the nice thing is my colleagues can start replying to it, and with a simple click of the URL, my colleagues, if they have the access in Salesforce, get routed back to where this metric comes from. Now you can take all of these 2 or 3 steps further, making use of Agentforce. Agentforce allows you to interact with your data in a very easy way using GenAI. For example, here I have 3 personal agents. I have my sales agent who can provide me with insights from within Slack. I can ask her, can you give me the sales insights dashboard, please? This is not my colleague. This is an agent working for me. As you can see, he's working on the response and he retrieved a dashboard for me. And simply by clicking on it, I am again on my Salesforce dashboard. Just to show you how integrated all of this is, we have really come full circle in terms of integrations and switching between interfaces. There's no need of really copying, pasting stuff around. So here I am in the channel of our sales team, which I share with 5 of my other colleagues, and I want to give them insight into our sales as well. I forgot the URL of my sales dashboard. That's no problem because I have my sales agent, my digital labor assistant, who will help me with retrieving the insights I need. Where can I find the sales insights dashboard? And if everything goes well, you will see that it will start retrieving the result and it will first post it to me personally. She found the answer. You can find the sales insight dashboard using the following URL. I can share it in a thread, and as of that moment it becomes public, and I can start quoting my colleagues. Hey, did you have a look at this dashboard? Looping in the human, and she then will have direct access to the dashboard as well. Isn't that amazing? Now, the possibilities of Agentforce are way beyond what I have shown here, but in the context of Tableau Next, it can help you with your analysis, retrieving information, even executing actions, be it in your CRM or in the environment where you guys all work. Put on my camera for the final bit, and certainly last but not least, Tableau Next is available on the Salesforce app as well. I can on the go, when I'm on the train or waiting, check in real time all my analytics that are relevant to me. And not unimportantly, by just clicking the share icon, I can share it directly into my sales environment for my colleagues to get notified or get informed on the insights I want them to see.